Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of AI Amigos Show. My name is Marina, and I'm super happy to be here with James. Hi, James. How are you?
Very well, Marina. We're one Chinaman short today.
I know I see that well, but time to time, he also deserves holidays, I would say. Do you agree?
I don't know.
Maybe.
I didn't get an invite.
Yes, well, we will miss Jean Chao today. Uh, but the good part of this is that, well, as everyone knows, James and I, we met studying data analytics, and our main passion remains on data. And this is why we decided, okay, so now that we are together and just the two of us in this episode, let's dive into that. And well, so the topic that we actually suggested was um, trying to understand the differences between business intelligence and data science. I think a lot of people confuse them, right?
I would say so. Yeah. I mean, obviously, as you said, we're in it, so we would not confuse it. But that distinction, takes some time to understand what's the difference between, like what's the core objectives of business intelligence versus the core objectives of data science.
100%, 100%. And I believe I remember, as you said, like we are on it, but when we were students, for example, I think that maybe we were not super sure on where to go or what the path was. And it could be like the case of many people, and especially if you own your own business, for example, it's okay, I want to start working with data. Where do I get started? So
Yeah.
what is it I have to do? And I always advise that the first step is going through business intelligence, like understanding your current context.
Yeah, well,
Um,
the data you get in business intelligence is usually very clean and structured, ready to go kind of way,
exactly.
It's flattened data, tabular, rows and columns and things like that. And where in data science, not so much.
No, of course not. Of course not. It's actually, like the hard part, like cleaning the data and getting this ready. I remember my first job in analytics was in business intelligence, and always I receive the data clean. So I use, there are several tools like Hadoop, Kivan, Elasticsearch, etc. So then all of them already prepare the data as you want it to be, when you
Those were
just
the days.
commands. Yeah, exactly. And then you just need to say, okay, perfect. Then we prepare a statistical report, and you just do, like descriptive analytics, maybe, describing a little bit about the environment, trying to identify or spot some anomalies, and that's it. That was all, So then it's actually, I would say it's easy, but it is important that you understand the data. So then I wouldn't minimize the job. Um,
Yeah,
the
well,
difference.
it's a huge percentage. If you think about it, it'd be like 50 to 60% of your job as a data scientist would be cleaning the data, well, getting the data and cleaning it, and
Well, so
merging.
for data scientists,
Yeah.
it's another role, because it's, as you said, cleaning the data, getting this ready, extracting the information that could be valuable, actually, because as well sometimes, imagine like with text, with comments, etc. There are many things that we are not really using, right? So then if there
Yeah.
is, I don't know.
Well, what
uh,
what are the objectives then? Because you and I jumped straight into the data bit, but I'm wondering if there's. I see we have one viewer live at the moment, but anyone that's listening, if maybe they don't know the difference of the objectives of what's the objective of data science, what is the objective of business intelligence,
True. So then let's get started with that. Well, you work as a data scientist, so then maybe you can actually start with that part.
Well, I always look at the four questions when you're working on something with data, which is you do the four analytics as such. So you have the descriptive analytics, the predictive, the prescriptive, and then the cognitive analytics. So the descriptive is basically what you would do in business intelligence. These are our sales for the last quarter. This was the revenue. This is how many we sold of these products, and you put it on a nice dashboard and a nice, um, you know, visualization or a report. And that's what business intelligence does. And so businesses can make, data-driven decisions,
But
right?
based on the current situation, right? On the current
Yeah.
scenario.
You're just
Um,
describing what's happening. That's it.
Yes, but the thing is, with data science, the objective is trying to understand how likely is something to happen. So data science works with probabilities. It's more based on statistics, let's say, and trying to perform different
Well,
tests, different
well,
models.
it's the predictive analytics, as I was saying. So, the predictive, and then you have the descriptive and cognitive, or sorry, predictive, prescriptive, and then cognitive analytics. But I mean, even like what you're saying there now, like then you're going into a whole other area, which is causality.
Exactly.
Why sales are down? Why are sales down? You know, so we can predict what the sales are going to be next quarter, and they're going to be less. But why?
And here as well, something that is important to mention, and this is not just like for aspiring data analysts or data scientists. This is in general, for the businesses. Um, with business intelligence, it's really hard that you don't get accuracy in what you're doing, because you get clean data, you get real data, let's say data from your company, for example, where you can get all the figures, all the numbers. So then it's very rare that when you make a report or a dashboard or anything, as you are working on something that actually already happened, or maybe is happening like in real time, it's real information. It's kind of time to time, you have it, you do it, and you present it, and that's it. But with data science, there is a lot of chances around this. So then you can say, okay, I will use this data, but the data is very unlikely that it's 100% accurate. You can see, for example, when you do a forecasting, well, you work in fintech, right, as well. So then
Hmm.
if you make a prediction on that, you cannot say that 100% sure the result that you accomplish will be there. But the closest this is to the reality that will happen in the future, because of course we cannot see the future, right? But we can predict more or less how it will come. Let's say that you are predicting a trend that is going up a price, for instance. So the closer it is to the reality, the better. And this is where we can see the data scientist has done a good job with the
Well, I mean,
models, with the
yeah,
analysis.
yeah. I mean, like Donald Rumsfeld said, I don't know if you know who he was during the U.S. during the Iraq War. He said we have the known knowns, so that would be business intelligence. We know that we know, and then you have the unknown unknown. So what do we not know that we don't know? And that's data science.
What is the part that we are actually missing? Well, but in that sense, that there was something that you always mentioned in your lectures. There was, I need to talk to the data. I need to
Yeah,
see what the data has to tell
yeah.
me.
You ask questions. Yeah, someone who's experienced doesn't say, "Talk to me, data." Tell me something, an insightful thing. The data will never talk to you, but you pose
Well, of
questions.
course not.
Yeah,
Not
but
directly. Not
that's
directly.
well. I mean, you think about this. You watch movies, right? It's not directly in your sleep. They talk to you, but you watch movies or shows, and these guys like they come up with these things, and it's so easy, and they're typing and they're doing all the coding and everything, and then this and look at here and this part of the data, this and this, and you're like, in reality, it's like not that at all. It's hours, and
No,
even with ChatGPT and all the AI stuff, it still takes a lot of time
it
to come up
does.
because particularly in data science, because in data science, I mean, you're trying to find you're experimenting. That's why it's a science, right? You're experimenting to try to find things inside there. So you pose questions to your data, and you can do, as you said, statistical. You can do A/B testing, or you can do a hypothesis, on it, and then come back. And so all of that is then becomes, it would be very much. I wouldn't say. Well, I mean, it would be coming up with something novel in your domain, where AI is very generalized in all
Mhm.
domains. So therefore, when you go into a very specific area, a very specific thing, it's the AI is not going to be able to do that. That's where you need the human intelligence to come in, the data
Exactly,
scientist to come in.
but this is something that I always mention. So you can have, for example, AI tools that work for you, and maybe they can make predictions, for example. But you need a human being behind that has something, a sense of what is happening, and that is
Yeah.
the experience that can give you that.
Yeah, well, you need domain knowledge experts and to give you, well, that doesn't really fit, and then give you some insights and try to predict. So, like if you think about, for example, so my background's financial services and the stock market, and saying, well, is the stock market going to go up tomorrow? Or is it going to go down? Then you can make a prediction on it, but then the question is, well, why? Well, and as you say, you get that intuition, but that all of that intuition that people have are experience, and experience is just data, right?
Yes.
And so you're saying I'm taking all of my experience, my knowledge, and I'm going to apply it using wisdom because of my years. And so how do we then put that into an AI to do that for us? And only data science can do that. I mean, I can tell you that not neither OpenAI nor DeepSeek or any of these AI, they cannot do the job of a data scientist.
No, 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 not at all. So then you
Mm.
can use it. It can support you. It can guide you a little bit.
Oh
Like
yeah,
it can spot, okay, there is an error or something, but not doing the entire job. You know why I laugh, James? Well, I'm not a native English speaker, and this is like a funny fact that has nothing to do exactly with the data, right? But when you mentioned the word like a wisdom, right?
yeah,
So there is another word that is wisdom for the tooth. And then
yeah.
I remember like I was talking to someone and I mentioned like I had like a problem in my wisdom tooth. And the person made fun of me and said like imagine like the tooth being like a kind of like with the bubble for the future. Anyway. So
Great.
these are the problems. These are the
It
problems
could
with
be
the
if you get your wisdom tooth taken out, then you got no wisdom. There you go.
this is the problem with the language barrier, right? But anyway, so coming back to our point with the data. So if you would give an advice, for example, to a person who is starting, let's say like a startup or a business that said, okay, I have, for example, I know my LinkedIn page there, my Instagram there, and I don't know, I have clients that are talking to me, and maybe I am saving everything on, I don't know, on the cloud or on an Excel sheet. What would be your advice to get started working with the data?
As a data scientist or a data analyst, business intelligence.
I would say both. Let's say that you don't know much and you are actually doing this.
Well, I think you have to pick which way you want to go, and I know that I see we've got a couple of viewers online there. So if you guys want to pop in your questions, please feel free to ask us any question. We'd be more than happy to answer them. But what I was going to say as well is that when you look at the tools and technologies that we use, they're much different. And this is why you say, well, if you're going this way, you got to really think about which way you want to go. Now, initially, you may say, well, like James, I don't know which way I want to go because, like, when I started as well, like I didn't know which way I wanted to go. I thought I may do software development, but I found out very quickly that I don't like software development.
No, me neither.
And it's not that no, I'm not talking bad about software developers. It's just for me, I found that I like experimenting and finding insights and things like that. And so when you look from if you want to be a data analyst using just like BI, there's a lot of BI tools, Power BI, right? Tableau, Excel, tools like that are very easy to use, that don't require much. I'm not going to say you don't need to do any coding. That would be the word. That's
No,
the phrase
yes,
I think.
of course,
You don't need coding.
that for sure. But the thing is, like, how to start tracking the data, because I always advise if you don't really know much about this and you want to start analyzing something, try to go for business intelligence. Try to use the plugins, for example, the Google Analytics to your website, for instance. So then you can start analyzing the dashboard, and then you can see, okay, so this is the automatic dashboard that, let's say, I would say like Google for Google Analytics, but it could be like any other one. Let's say that you're using WordPress, whatever, so you can still measure that. And that would be like the starting point in my opinion, and then trying to check when it's, let's say, a good time to post, when people are actually liking your comments, etc. Then you need some intuition as well, right?
Yeah, but I would still probably think. I mean, and when we're talking there about like the tools, right? And you think about like Excel. And then many of the times I know that people, and it's, I love Excel. Like it just brings, anytime there's chaos in life, Excel spreadsheet brings order. But Excel, I'm it's problematic in regards to you can make a lot of mistakes if you've not highlighted all the cells that you want, and if you make a mistake in the formulas that you're using, that could be a problem. Where I mean, if you learn a little bit of scripting, Python scripting, and if you write the script once right, it's right every time.
Yes,
So
totally, because
it
it's a
would be
matter of
worth
replacing the
learning that.
data.
Yeah,
Yes.
so it'd be worth learning to do a bit of a bit of scripting, and obviously, and we're talking data here. You're going to have to learn SQL. That just comes without saying. Whether
It is what it is.
it is what it is. I mean, everything is stored on a database. You're going to need to, and I mean, once you get your head around about the joins and how you're selecting your different columns, or your attributes, if you whatever you want to call them, and how they work. It's not necessarily, you're not a data engineer that you going, or a database designer that designs a database, but you do need to know how to query to get the data that you want from the database. So that's
Totally, but
that's an
but the
important
thing
thing.
is, like, what happened with people who just said, "Okay, I'm getting started, and I don't know how to use my data. I don't know how to exploit it."
Yeah, well, I mean, and then we start talking about courses and online videos
Well,
and
if we talk about
and
online videos and how
books.
to get started, there are so many things. I would say, like, YouTube, it's a free academy for this kind of stuff. You can give it a go. Sometimes you are
Coursera has a lot
lucky,
of free courses. Coursera has a lot of free courses.
for example, as well. Not just
I,
Coursera, edX as well. Well, and if you want to find like cheap courses, Udemy every now and then, like it has some offers. But
I
still,
have one here.
it is really important if you have a business, start tracking what is happening and what happens to your business, right? And then what will tell you in what situation you are is the data, and the deeper you go or you are willing to go is where you can actually extract information. I see that we have some people watching us, so then feel free to drop your message, your comment, your questions here. We would be very happy to help. The
I I
main
I put a link there, Marina. Just to tell you, I put a link to the
Yes.
chat there, and I just want to share this real quick. But go ahead and continue, and then I'll share.
No, I just wanted to mention that it's really good anyway. So it's really good anyway that we have the possibility, or if you have a business, for example, you have the possibility to start checking what is happening to your business. And I would say the first step is going through business intelligence, because it's kind of the first part. You say, okay, I will check the analytics, the reports, everything that is there that doesn't require a coding, as you mentioned. But then when you start storing your data, let's say you get a database or something like that, so then in that moment is when you maybe need to start deepen some skills. And as James mentioned, once you have a code that is working and it's right, then you can repeat again and again and just replace the data that you're using.
Well, I have something very serious to tell you, Marina.
Tell me.
Excel is not a database.
I didn't talk about Excel.
I didn't say you did, but a lot of you think, oh, I have, I store all my data where on Excel.
No.
It's like, it's not a database. It's not a database.
No,
Okay.
not really. But for startups, for example, there are some credits that Google offers or AWS. So then, anyone can actually select their choice, and they usually have some person who is accompanying them in the process. So then they can actually learn on the go as well. It's not that you need to learn absolutely everything at once, but you continue learning. Like. On the go, and then yes, when you have all your data stored, this is the goal of your business.
Yes, I've shared here. I've shared this developer roadmaps, and you'll see that they have a lot of here. So look, they've got SQL, computer science, and then different languages, Java. I know you love Java, Marina.
Come on. That was my nightmare for everyone to know. I love Python is the best. Be cool.
Yeah, so if you see this link I put here, so you see there's all of this here. So like you have a lot of, and this was one that was shared on TikTok. But if I click, let's say, for example, computer science, let's say you're interested in that. So if you click computer science, it will then give you a roadmap of what you can learn, pick a language. So let's say I want to go with Python. It'll tell you here where free resources, and then there's here where you can pay for data camp and things like that. So if you wanted to use, like, let's say you wanted to do R instead of Python, which R is not there, which that's strange that it's not there. There's
No,
Java.
yeah, but I
Um,
probably is in data analytics or business
yeah, let's
analysis.
go back. Let's go back here. Here's SQL. So if you want to, here's a roadmap to SQL. Very good here. And then you can click into them, and it'll give you again free resources, premium resources. So I put the link there in the chat. So have a look at that. If you are watching the recording, look, here's AI agents. This one is new, right? So gives you a
Well,
bit of a
I
roadmap.
assume it is new. It has to be.
Yeah, well, I mean, it says it right there, new.
Okay, well,
Yeah. So
yes.
it's to see questions, and so that's new as well. Data analyst. So here we go. If you click there, preparing for different interviews and things. So what I was going to say is this is in the chat. I don't know if it comes across in the recording. If it doesn't, give us a like on the recording and request it, and I will send it to you. Okay. But really good information, particularly if you're looking to like AI and data scientist. So if you want to go down that road, so look at this. Oh, Marina, look, introduction to statistics,
I
hypothesis testing,
know that's actually the base of everything. I always tell you.
statistics, mathematics, econometrics, coding. Here we go. EDA, machine learning, deep learning, and then ML ops.
Anyway, guys, don't get afraid. Don't be actually don't panic. This is kind of example of roadmaps. Of course, the deep, the deeper you go, the more you will understand how this work actually works, and then you will start enjoying it. I remember once someone told me, no, I cannot invite you to go for climbing or something like this. And then I said, well, and
Mm.
I also cannot invite you to do some AI coding here to prepare an agent with me, and and
Yeah.
and the person told me, oh no, but this is just job. This is just your job. It's nothing related to that. And for me, I was kind of offended. And my example was how many times, and I cannot count them, I being with James online like 1 or 2 hours just because, like learning something new. So in the end, it becomes a passion because it's a kind of path that you feel okay. I keep learning, but it never really ends, and you can get a lot of yes, good stuff around this, and for
Well, look at this.
anything.
You can enroll for free. So for those that maybe it does tell you here beginner level, no prior experience required. It takes 4 weeks to complete, 10 hours a week, and you learn at your own pace. So for those that may be thinking, this is what I want to do, I want to get into it. Here's some roadmaps, right? So let's take a look at. I want to see what it comes up on statistics. I need to see what you think. 12 modules, beginner level. So they do have a recommended experience, and if you click there, it'll tell you basic familiarity with computers, productivity software.
Well,
Okay.
I assume that all of us that we are watching here, like we have some familiarity with
If you're online, you have familiarity with a computer. I would say
exactly. So then it's not that a big requirement, and then you
no,
can study
no
for free.
calculus. Look, 96% of learners like this course, and look at what they have. Skills you'll gain: statistical modeling, data collection, descriptive statistics, which we're talking about, descriptive analytics, statistical inference, regression analysis, statistical methods, statistics, again, EDA, and probability distribution. All good stuff. This is solid stuff. And with Coursera, it's a free course. Enroll for free. So I would definitely. The only thing it doesn't say here, it says 12 modules. They're not like the other one told us how long it would take. Remember, it said four.
Yeah, the other one mentioned 10 hours.
Yeah,
But here you have it. Look,
yeah,
in every module it says 1 hour, 12 hours, etc. So then it's actually good.
yeah. So I mean, I would definitely recommend you having a look at this road. Well, again, it's a roadmap. It's a developer roadmap. It's not just necessarily for like there's data analysts. So let's take a look at that. So look at the difference between the two, right? What is data analytics, descriptive analytics, diagnostic, predictive, prescriptive, which we were talking about there. So
And here
here,
you have R. Do you remember that I told you for the data analysis you will have R? Here it
yeah,
is.
there it goes. R. There's
So because
Python.
R is a software that was created for statistical analysis initially, to do descriptive statistics, and then it improved a lot, and then it included a lot of machine learning inside. Um, but to be
Yeah.
clear on this, guys, so depending on the path that you want to take, if you go through business intelligence, remember that you will deal with data that is kind of, as James said, flat, clean. Usually you have the data on hand, and then you will be mostly doing reporting for the current scenario, for the current situation. And what do you see? Because it's data that's something that already happened, or it's happening now, for example, and you're analyzing, let's say, in real time. Whereas data science is more about, okay, this is the data that happened before. I want to see what will happen in future. I want to see what information I can extract. I want to see what they can predict out of this.
Or say, what other data points can we bring into this and merge with this data set in order to be able to
Example.
help with a prediction? But even going back to like the data or BI, business intelligence, one key skill that I would say, and it may go over, it could go over to, it probably does, data science, is that you should be a good data storyteller to give the story of the data itself and to engage the audience. And then what happens when you go through the data and you come up with a conclusion based on your analysis? Because remember, what is data? I mean, a lot of people say it's information. It's not information.
No, it's not information.
No,
Data
it's
data is it could be like a number, a text, a figure, it's an observation that is there. The information is what you can extract out of this.
once you analyze it. So what I was going to say is, what happens when you find something out in the data and then your supervisor or the client doesn't agree with it? Because the data says what the data says. Do you know what I mean? But some
Yes.
people are so invested in, no, this is the way things are, and then the data is so shows something that is not what they want it to be. You know what I mean? They're so
Well,
invested
but
in
it
being
is
one
what it
way.
is.
Yeah. But no, but they want it to be one way. No, and it's not. So
That's
yeah.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Anyway, James, thank you so much for this episode. I think it was great that you could share the link for the roadmap. Guys who are watching there, and whoever is watching Asynchronic, thank you so much for being there. And well, it was a really nice talk, actually. I feel like we were talking kind of our careers somehow.
Yeah, well, when you talk data, Marina loves talking data, so there you go.
I know, I
Too
know,
bad
I know, I
Chal's
know.
not here today. Too bad Chal's not here today. And he won't
Guys,
be here next week either. He won't be here next week either.
who? Gianchao. Yeah, that's
Chal.
true. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Well, next week we need to come up maybe like with some other example or use case. But we are looking forward to meeting you next week. Thank you for the flexibility of logging in today. Next week we will see you on Thursday as usual. And James, pleasure to be here.
It's Wednesday today, and I also was going to say, oh yeah, Thursday's usually next week. But I was going to say, we have to say the people that Jin Chao's not going to be here because we know that Jin Chao has many fans,
I
and
know
so we don't want to
he's the
disappoint him.
popular one. He's the popular one.
We don't want to disappoint him. His fans, not Jin Chao. All right,
Thank
see you
you.
guys. Thanks,
Thank you
Marina.
guys. See you.